Hey y'all, this is my video for week 13. I want to start out first by talking about the First Amendment. We've kind of talked about this quite a bit before. The First Amendment, as we all know, is the right of freedom of speech and expression. This gives us the right to free speech, our opinion, hate speech. Not necessarily that we all believe that it should back us up on someone hating on someone else or hate speech. But it's part of free speech. There comes times that hate speech can turn into something different if it's directed towards a certain person, threatening, insulting. Mostly you see threats, or I have, that is considered hate speech that is actually something is done about it. I want to talk about the Snyder versus the Phelps protecting the process of persuasion. Y'all bear with me while I find, here it is. Okay, so it basically states that, it talks about that how the First Amendment focuses on the interest of the speakers. It stated that in the article. This article is basically talking about how the church was downing soldiers and directing hate speech towards soldiers, and their families could take it. Really, anybody has to have anything to do with a soldier. I mean, I don't necessarily have anything to do with a specific soldier, but it's hate speech. It's offending. In the article, it talked about how the receivers to be engaged in the process protected by the First Amendment, they must know what's being said and they must know which way it's being said. They knew which way it was being said and they were doing it out of hate. Sorry, my phone is propped up against my computer screen and it's going crazy. And I've lost my place. At the end of the article, it went on to talk about kind of what happened to them, kind of what happened with the whole thing. It connected the speech protection for the process of the persuasion. Still haven't found where I was. Okay, while recognizing the rights of the speakers, as the First Amendment, it focused on the interest of the speakers. While recognizing the rights of the speakers, it failed to acknowledge the interest of the receivers for the purpose of the free speech protection. And since they failed to embrace the opportunity presented by Snyder, he left the process, legislators, and the public over the court's failure to help the pain suffered from the family of the fallen soldier. And then at the very end, it says that in his conclusion that that the power of speech is to persuade, and any argument supporting that the power must account not only for the interest of the speakers, but also the right of the receivers and purpose for the free speech protection. Any other course will create mere shadow of freedom. And then it kind of flows into the freedom for the thought that we hate, while Westboro had to win. Why would he not want to win, is how I see this. He was taken up for the soldiers, which is what we need to do in these hate speech. We need to take up for the ones that are being downed on and pick them up. Okay, and then it tells in this article how the judges interpret the meaning of the First Amendment speech and the press clause involved. This is a watershed moment regarding controversial speech over the Holmes' opinion that the Constitution calls for the principle of free thought. And this statement really caught my eye, and I thought it was really good. Not free thought for those who agree with us, but freedom for the thought that we hate. You can kind of take that how you like. I thought it was a very good quote. Kind of helped sum me up, but also wanted to say that I don't believe that hate speech should be part of free speech, but since it is, we kind of have to deal with it as it comes. But I feel like there are many safeguards out there that we could put up to help with this problem. I'm kind of excited to talk about that in our term paper. That's what I'm talking about. But how we can change this on like college campuses and schools. There's things that we can do to fix these problems, even out in the big world. There's so many things that there could be done to help prevent hate speech, to give people places where they can voice their opinions and not have someone there bashing them because of it. Because we all have something negative to say. Not necessarily about someone. Sometimes it's just something. But yeah, so that sums up my video for the week. Sorry.